There's nothing like quarterfinal day at a conference tournament anywhere, and that includes the SEC Women's Tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. 4 great games between teams, 7 of the 8 teams, all in the top 25 nationally, and it should be a great day. The first quarterfinal today features one of the United States' top teams, South Carolina, the queens of the SEC for the last decade or so. The number 1 seed again, playing in their home state, taking on a team that they just beat a few days ago, the number 9 seed, the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky already playing its 3rd game in 3 days. They beat Arkansas to start the tournament on Wednesday, and then yesterday, a 30-plus point, 20-plus rebound from Clara Strack saw the Cats through Georgia, but a big test today as Kentucky plays South Carolina. Welcome, everyone, to this SEC Women's Basketball Tournament Watch-Along. I'm Seth Eaves. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. Kentucky and South Carolina set to meet for the 79th time. South Carolina leads the series 43-35. Kentucky does have the edge at SEC tournament games, 3-2. Of course, the last time Kentucky played in the Kentucky beat South Carolina in the SEC tournament. Last time Kentucky beat them, I should say, was in 2022 when Kentucky won the conference tournament. And one more time, these 2 teams just played on Sunday, this past Sunday, in what was the regular season finale. South Carolina winning a hard-fought game, 60-56. And Carolina knows they're going to have to deal with Kentucky's blocking prowess. They blocked faster than triggered people on Twitter. 215 blocks, the best in all of Division I. So it should be good. Toni Morgan, Asia Boone, Amelia Hassett, Tiani Key, and the aforementioned Clara Strack are the 5 that Kenny Brooks rolls out his 2nd year at Kentucky. Came to Kentucky from Virginia Tech, where he had a lot of success, most notably leading the Hokies to the 2023 Final Four. The 2 Johnsons, Raven Tessa, Tanea Latson, Joyce Edwards, Medina Okot, all in the starting 5. All 5 were either first or second team All-SEC performers. South Carolina the favorites not just today, but for the entire tournament. But in March, sometimes, you just never know. An early start has not deterred the crowd, a decent, good enough crowd on hand as you would imagine. A lot of garnet in the stands. These Gamecock fans love their team. Kentucky knows that even though it's technically a neutral site tournament, they know they're playing a road game in more ways than one. They're wearing the road unis and they're playing in the state of South Carolina. It's Okot and Key to jump center, and quarterfinal Friday at the SEC is underway. South Carolina controls the tip. It's going to be Raven Johnson. Gives it up to Latson now. This is actually Edwards. Now goes over Johnson. Now back to Edwards in the left block. Edwards' reverse layup is no good. Key altered that shot. And here comes Kentucky going the other way. Toni Morgan now. Morgan now gives it to Hassett. Now it's Asia Boone. Boone at the top of the key. Kentucky going right to left in their famous royal blue uniforms as you listen. Raven Johnson got in the passing lane, knocked it out of bounds. It'll stay with Kentucky. 14 on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Toni Morgan. Morgan on a take and lays it in. Good work, Morgan. And Kentucky gets the first points of this game. Morgan averaging 14 points in the 2 games in Greenville so far that Kentucky has played. Latson for the free throw line. Pull up short. Rebound by Tiani Key. Now Kentucky has it going the other way. Kentucky on the move here. Boone in the lane. Boone had it altered, but a foul will go against South Carolina. It's going to be Joyce Edwards being called. One thing's for sure, though. South Carolina defense, South Carolina goes about 10 deep, so 9 or 10 deep, so Nothing will phase him. Asia Boone at the free throw line. First free throw is no good. Boone's a 79% free throw shooter. 5'8" junior from San Diego gets the friendly roll on the second free throw, an all-second team Conference USA performer at Liberty 1 season ago. 3-0 Cats. Early days. Here is Edwards at the free throw line. Edwards, now Raven Johnson. Kick out to Latson. Finds Tessa Johnson. Now it's Edwards in the paint. Edwards knifes in. Short off the front of the rim. And a foul underneath. And it's going to go on Key of Kentucky. So free throws for South Carolina. And it's Joyce Edwards. Edwards a 70% free throw shooter. First free throw good. South Carolina has their first points of the day. Edwards averages 20 points a game on the season. Misses the second. Key got the rebound for Kentucky. Cats now pushing up the floor here with Morgan on the left wing. Morgan now drives at the free throw line. Now over to Amelia Hassett. Now it is Clara Strack. That's her first touch of the day and picked up the foot. And so back we go the other way. Joyce Edwards against ranked opponents averages 15 a game, and against unranked opponents 22 points per game. And it is worth noting that Kentucky, despite being the number 9 seed of this tournament, is nationally ranked. There's Strack with the block right on cue, denying Okai. We talked about the block parties I like to throw earlier. Here's Johnson, step back, high arcing three. That's an air ball. And Kentucky now wants to run. Here come the Cats. Morgan, reverse layup at the underside of the rim. Rebound to Okai. Carolina on the run with Tessa Johnson. Here's Edwards. Layup good. Even at 3. Edwards had just 9 points. Joyce Archer had 9 points in that game in Lexington on Sunday. That was a season low for her. Strack on the left wing. Gives it to Key. Key at the top of the key. Key now threads it back to Boone. Boone going to take the mid-range jump shot. High archer, no good. Rebound gathered in by Okott of South Carolina. Okott now over to Raven Johnson. Johnson now gets it to Latson. Latson working inside. Good pass and the basket for Okott. And South Carolina has the lead of the crowd. Now has a little something to cheer about on that bucket by Medina Okott. A 5-3 lead for the Gamecocks. Strack of the left block. Okott had 21-13 against UK on Sunday. Bad pass, Strack. Picked off Tessa Johnson. Ahead of the pack. Missed the layup. Latson then tries to save it and does by throwing it off the knee of Hassett. Okott's really stepped it up, averages 16 and 14, 7 double-doubles in her last 7 games. Raven Johnson around the world and in. A little spinorama to give South Carolina the basketballs a spinorama to give them a 7-3 lead. Now Carolina's is cooking a little bit here. Morgan jumper, nothing. Here come the Gamecocks. Edwards looked for Latson. And then it gets knocked off a Kentucky player, and it's going to go with the Gamecocks. Kenny Brooks. Gave Clara Strack a most interesting motivational piece prior to the SEC tournament. He told her, "You're the worst superstar I've ever coached." Well, it's that or something else has lit a fire under Clara's backside, because it has been a great tournament for her so far. Although I'm sure everybody else would acknowledge, today's a different kettle of fish. Edwards with 2 more inside. And South Carolina, in the blink of an eye, has built this lead up to 6. Strack. Good pass. Johnson got a hand on it. Tessa Johnson got a hand on it and poked it away. 9-3 start for Carolina. Kentucky has gone nearly 4 minutes without scoring until right there. A 3-ball from Hassett, who's hit 7 threes in this tournament, cuts it to 3 on that triple. Now here's Raven Johnson. Johnson gives it to Tessa Johnson. Johnson, reverse layup, good. Tessa Johnson with a nice reverse layup move. 11-6 Gamecocks as we're near the halfway point of the first quarter. Here's Morgan for Kentucky. Morgan now gives it over to Obi. Obi, reverse layup, way off. Rebound, South Carolina and Okai. Now Maddie McDaniel, who's checked into the game with a nice Euro step. Maddie McDaniel only averages 5 a game, but is plenty skilled. You don't get playing time for Dawn Staley if you're not tough and you're not skilled. And right on cue, the basket there. Here's Strack. She'll take the mid-range jump shot and hit it. Clara Strack's off the mark on her 3rd game of the SEC tournament. So a 5-point game. Strack, 5 of 7 from 3 against Georgia after going 0 of 14 in the previous 7 games. Carolina drives it side and misses, and now Kentucky has it going the other way. Morgan, now back to Strack. Strack at the free throw line. Kick out now Obi. Obi had it stripped by Okai. Carolina now on the run again. Here's Tessa Johnson. Tessa Johnson blew the layup. McDaniel follows. She missed too, but there is a foul. We're going to have a national stoppage with 3:58 to go in the first quarter. It's South Carolina with a 13-8 lead over the University of Kentucky. Now, we do have the option starting today to give you breaks, but one thing I said I wanted to do, we'll take breaks at halftime and at the end of quarters. Is how we'll do this. So let's start with the season in review for Kentucky. The Wildcats, 23-9 on the season. Started the year with wins against mostly Minnows until they beat Louisville in November. They did some of their first loss in Puerto Rico to Maryland. Had a win over Miami in the SEC-ACC Challenge. Then, of course, the biggest win of their year was probably on New Year's Day when they won by 2 at LSU. But they then lost to Alabama. They then beat Oklahoma at home. They went up to number 6 in the national rankings. Then they had a dry spell towards the end of January where they lost 3 in a row. A 12-point loss at Mississippi State. A 2-point loss at Tennessee, which looks more inexplicable with each passing day. A 5-point home loss to Georgia. Then a tough loss to Vanderbilt. They had a chance in the last possession, couldn't get it done. 11-point defeat at Texas, then beat Ole Miss, then lost to Vandy again, and then losing to South Carolina in the finale. But the 2 wins so far in Greenville. They beat Arkansas by 30 on Wednesday, and then a 15-point win over Georgia yesterday. And Kentucky is no doubt feeling good, and you do have to wonder how this team playing is the rest versus rust matter. I mean, you have a team that hasn't played since Sunday. You have a team that's playing 3 in 3 days, and of course, as far as awards, Strack and Morgan picked up all SEC honors. Strack was an all-conference first-team selection. Was also named all-defensive team, and Morgan all-second team. Morgan, of course, also has been named to the SEC Community Service Team, where she recently gifted 20 local athletes $100 gift cards to a name-brand sports store to ease the burden of equipment and gear. She also donated $500 worth of winter coats to families in need. She has teamed up with Missouri men's basketball player Anthony Robinson, who's also from Tallahassee like her, to give Florida High new scores tables. Also donated to another home that's close to her heart. A couple other deals there. So that's kind of how Kentucky's gotten to where they've gotten this season. A 13-8 Carolina lead early in this one. Strack, the last 3 games, 20-plus points in 3 straight games, first time in her career. 24 against South Carolina last Sunday, 20 against Arkansas, then the 33 against Georgia yesterday. McDaniel knocks down the first free throw. Second one, no good. Rebound by Kentucky. Here is Morgan. Boone now over to Morgan. Morgan, wraparound pass. Boone, a right corner 3, a high arcer. That falls. Asia Boone, a 36% three-point shooter, drills that one. And Kentucky's back to within 3. Averages 10 a game on the season, does Boone. Here's McDaniel, now back to Edwards. Edwards now over to Latson at the top of the key. Now here's McDaniel, left wing 3. No good. Rebound skied out of the air by Key. Now here is Morgan. Now Key on the high post. Key. Inside, nice move. Oh, great move by Tiani Key. The layup is good. Kentucky's back to within a point. Averages 13 and 9 a game so far in this tournament. Edwards at the free throw line. Raven Johnson, she's going to pull for 3 and hit it. Raven Johnson, a brief hesitation. She figured why not. And in it went from 3. 38% three-point shooter and a 4-point South Carolina lead. At the other end, Morgan drives and is fouled. Morgan, a 5'9" senior from Tallahassee, as we mentioned. Two-time ACC Rookie of the Week playing at Georgia Tech. She has just had a really, really good year for Kentucky, as mentioned. She was also a 2-sport athlete. She also competed in track and field in high school, long jump, high jump, hurdles, and 4x4 relay. First free throw good for Morgan. 73% she shoots the charity stripe. 14 points, 8 assists per game. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, South Carolina, Edwards. Now the Gamecocks go to the floor. Agot McKeer is now checked in. Now Raven Johnson has the touch. Johnson, now over to McKeer. McKeer now gets it over to Edwards. Now over to Raven Johnson, trying to call for some help. 6 to shoot. Johnson, trying to knife in. Johnson scores. Raven Johnson with 2 more points. Gives a little shoulder shrug on the way back, Jordan style. And she's got 7 points. 5-point lead for the Gamecocks. Morgan, being guarded closely by Johnson. Now Morgan on the left wing. Morgan now gives it up to Kaylin Carroll, who's checked into the game. Now Morgan left wing, gets the Key. Key at the free throw line. Key jumper. No. Loose ball. Strack got the rebound. Great effort by Strack. Follow-away jump shot is good for Strack. South Carolina's within 3. Strack has 4 points. Here is Maddie McDaniel for South Carolina. McDaniel on a drive. McDaniel high off the window, no. Rebound inside Ocott, no, but Ocott is fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. A 69% free throw shooter is Medina Ocott, the 6'6" senior from Kenya, formerly at Mississippi State. So free throws coming up here for Okot. Makes the first one. 21 points and 13 rebounds was her stat line on Sunday at Memorial Coliseum in Lexington. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, Kentucky. Boone. Key. Key had it stripped by McDaniel. Good defense. It now goes into the hands of Okot. Gamecocks on the run. Edwards. Oh, Joyce Edwards. How cool was that? Nice reverse layup. 7 points for Joyce. And the Carolina lead now at 6. Boone on the left wing. Strack. Turnaround. Jumper. That's not even close. Rebound, Okot. Here comes South Carolina. McDaniel, 18 to shoot. McKeer gives it up. Here's a 3 for the left wing. That's no good. Edwards tracks the rebound down. Shot clock is off. South Carolina can hold and pull it back just a little bit here. Down to 6. McDaniel has it top of the key. Here's McDaniel on the drive. No good. 1 second. Strack the rebound, and that's the end of quarter number 1. So 1 quarter in the books. South Carolina leading at 22 to 16. We'll be back in just a few moments, and when we come back, we'll tell you how South Carolina's gotten to this point of the season. This is the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament Watchalong. And back we are. It's been another successful season for South Carolina women's basketball. Another SEC regular season championship. Just the 2 losses on the year. They lost a game to Texas, which was a non-conference game as a part of the Players Era Championship. That was just by 2 points. The non-conference saw a usual array of good wins. They blew out their arch rival Clemson, a win that actually looks pretty solid this year. Beat USC by 17 in the non-conference. Beat Duke by that same margin. 2-point win at Louisville. And then in the SEC, the wins racked up. They beat Texas. Their only classified conference loss, that January slip-up at Oklahoma. Kentucky and South Carolina. Kentucky, one of the only two teams not named South Carolina to have won this tournament since 2015. But to finish up, just a lot of big wins. The LSU win was big. And then the win against Kentucky on Sunday in the regular season. Kentucky missing a three as we start the quarter here. At the other end, it's Edwards and a foul. As Edwards was going for the basket. South Carolina and Kentucky here, of course. South Carolina, of course, expected, even if they were to lose this game today, the expectation is that they will be a number 1 seed. And something happened was the foul in South Carolina because Dawn Staley is none pleased. Is now having a conversation with the officials. Not sure what that was all about. It is Joyce Edwards at the free throw line. 70% free throw shooter knocks down the first one. Edwards, a local product, of course, from Camden, South Carolina. And misses the second. Or makes the second, I'm sorry. 8-point lead for the Gamecocks. Edwards, 9 points today. That matches the total she had on Sunday. Key to Morgan. Morgan now hits the trailer Strack for 3. Too strong. Key with the rebound. And she had it stripped away. Edwards. Ocott inside. And Ocott with 2 more. The most appreciative. It's South Carolina's lead now at 10. And even early in the second quarter, you have to say it's danger zone time for UK. Bad dangerous pass. Hassett. Though retrieved it. Strack. Key underneath. No. And into the hands of Ocott. Now up the floor. Here's McDaniel. Gives it to McKeer. McKeer on the right block. Edwards. No. That is a Kentucky rebound. Hassett. Point game. Hassett. And a slippage right there. Raven Johnson checking back in for South Carolina. That is 6 turnovers for Kentucky in this first half. South Carolina with 7 points off turnovers. They lead it by 10, and they have a chance to add to it. Raven Johnson now. Here is McKeer. Here now flips it back to Latson. Edwards at the free throw line. 9 to shoot. Edwards dumping it inside to McKeer. McKeer triple team. Jump ball. Dual possession. The arrow does stay with South Carolina, though. A good play, though, by Strack, nevertheless. So here is the inbounds pass. Time winding down the shot clock. Shot no good from Tornabize, a player from France who joined about the midway point of the season. Morgan turns it over. McKeer's going to pull for 3 and hit it. South Carolina's in a rhythm. Leads at 13. 10-0 run. Kenny Brooks has seen enough. Timeout, Kentucky. South Carolina. They come at you in the blink of an eye. When you're getting Medina Okot, who prior to today was just 9 of 19 from 3 hitting him, you know that you're in a very, very good position. Time for another roundup here. We like to do. We'll do player. We'll do season review. Then we'll do for each team's coaches, and then each team's history at this tournament and in general. Kenny Brooks, 57-year-old from Waynesboro, Virginia, is the head coach who played under the late Lefty Drizel at James Madison. Was an assistant for 8 years on the men's teams at both VMI and JMU. Then joined the women's staff in 2002, and then he spent 13 years as the head coach of James Madison, then off to Virginia Tech. Of course, he knows a little something about winning tournaments. He's won 6 conference tournaments in his time, 5 times the CAA champ at JMU, and of course, winning the tournament in 2023, the ACC tournament with Virginia Tech, a program that really had next to nothing in terms of history, tradition, and women's basketball, built it into a power. And of course, not only did they win the ACC tournament in 23, Brooks took that team all the way to the Final Four. He has done a tremendous job with Kentucky, 44-17. They were upset in the second round last year, but overall he's won 72% of his games. And in his career, he's only had 1 losing season. That was in his second year at James Madison. His first 3 years, he did not make the postseason. His teams have been to the postseason of some kind in every other year since his third year, which was the 2004-05 season. 10 trips to the dance, number 11 coming, and who knows? If they were to somehow come back and win this game tonight, maybe they're in position to be a host. Of course, the top 4 seeds in each region. The top 4 seeds in each bracket get a bye. If you're a top 4 seed in a bracket, when the brackets come out, get your games at home, barring logistics, previously playing logistics. But Kentucky's got a lot to worry about right now. 0 of 3 in the second half, 3 turnovers. They've been outscored 7-0 by the Gamecocks. Hassett for 3, and that stops the bleeding somewhat temporarily. Amelia Hassett. For what it's worth, 4-letter network bracketology does have Kentucky as a number 4 seed in the latest bracket. Charlie Cream's brand has Kentucky as a number 4 seed in the Sacramento 2 regional. South Carolina, a number 1 in the Fort Worth 3. So a turnover for South Carolina there. They lead it by 10 as we near the halfway point of quarter number 2. Strack now on the right block. Good save. Oh, picked off by Edwards. Great job. Edwards. Oh, her pass was too high for Latson, but it actually hit off the backboard. It did ricochet into the hands of a Kentucky player in Obi. Strack jumper, no good. And then tipped out of bounds by Tornabeze. Oh, she can't believe that. Something tells me Don will have a word to say with her about that, as if to say, just let it go. Give that the Elsa treatment. And you could totally see Dawn Staley talking about the movie Frozen, couldn't you? And see, you can't do that if you're Kentucky. You get gifted a chance and you do something stupid like that. Asia Boone committing a foul. Kenny Brooks is like, are you kidding me? Bumps into Tessa Johnson. Tessa sold it a little bit. It was enough. 9 turnovers, 7 made field goals. Raven Johnson on the right wing. Now over to Edwards. Her jumper. No. And over the back on Tornabeze. South Carolina fans up in arms. Dawn Staley likewise. Well, she shoves Strack. Ooh, I don't know. They might have the fans and coaches in Garnet might have a case on that one. Morgan. Now over to Obi. D. Cantner's on the 4-letter network. Of course, she's going to say the call was right. That's all these rules analysts do. Here's Strack. Knifes in, scores. Good job by Clara Strack. Raven Johnson. Now over to Edwards. Edwards on a drive. No. Tornabeze, no, but a foul. And let's see. It's not the bonus, but was it in the act of shooting? And if it was, that's free throws for the Gamecocks. Alicia Tornabeze, the 6'7" freshman. No, I did not do the meme. From France. All-Star 5 at the FIBA U18 Eurobasket. The first French woman to dunk in a game. Enrolled for the spring semester. Mother played at Colorado. Great job, World Feed. We don't know if she made the free throw or not. You cut by the time the package was over, the free throw had already been taken. We're going to assume she missed it because they didn't score it. That dang buzzer Jack Abbott's running the show again, I see. Here's a miss for Kentucky. Raven Johnson, kick out to Tessa Johnson. Johnson and Johnson. Smooth as can be. South Carolina up by 12. Obi. Now over to Morgan. That's Obi, not Omi, our racing friend. Morgan. Now Obi. Her left wing 3. That won't fly. Rebound for the Gamecocks. Here's Raven Johnson the other way. Now kind of slows down the pace. 10 assists on 12 made field goals for the Gamecocks. Here's Tessa Johnson. 17-footer is no good, but she's fouled. And she will go to the line where she is an 83% free throw shooter. Junior out of Albertville, Minnesota. Was on the all-tournament team 2 years ago with South Carolina. Won the national championship. 21 points at LSU on Valentine's Day, but just 6 points. She's averaging in her last 3 games, but she now has matched that total of 6 with that free throw she just made. Second free throw good. The lead at 14 for South Carolina. Inside and a turnover and another Kentucky turnover. South Carolina going the other way with it. McDaniel now over to Johnson. Now back to McDaniel. Johnson, top of the key. Her 3. Good. South Carolina can do no wrong at the present time. The lead is 17. It is a 9-0 run, and the Garnet and Black Army showing out in full effect. Looking for win number 30 on the season. Asset now over to Key. Morgan for 3, a high arcer. That will not fall. Loose ball into the hands. Here comes McDaniel. Now it's Johnson. Drives at Tessa Johnson's got 2 more. Kenny Brooks is looking for the number of that truck. I don't know what number it is. I know what color it is. It's a garnet and black steamroller. Morgan missed. This is going to get ugly here. McDaniel. Raven Johnson. Not this time. Rebound Strack. Kentucky pushing the other way. Here is Morgan. Key now back to Morgan on the right wing. 16 to shoot for Morgan. Morgan still trying to go a little ISO. Morgan drives. And a foul before the shot. Well, South Carolina showing their championship prowess right here. Kenny Brooks is just begging for something. Gonna need prayers. I don't even know if prayers can work at this rate. Jumper missed, but Obi's there to clean it up. And Kentucky does get 2 points to stop this a little bit. Lead at 17 for the Gamecocks. As we come up on 2 minutes to play in quarter number 2. Latson, now to McDaniel. Johnson. Johnson on a drive. This is Tessa Johnson. Blocked by Key, but Latson's there underneath. Latson puts 2 more in. It's all South Carolina here. Boone, now to Key. Key takes the free throw line jumper and hits it. Tiani Key with a nice looking jump shot. Lead at 17 for the Gamecocks. McDaniel now finding the trailer. Tessa Johnson. Ocott. Or McKee. Yeah, Ocott with a bucket. Lead now 44 to 25, as you see on your screen. Here's Kaylin Carroll on the right wing. Obi and foul. I've been away from the ball. Again, another break coming up. Then at halftime, we'll get you caught up on what else is happening on this busy day. Conference tournaments in women's and men's basketball all across this great land. It's a busy time of year, but it is a fun busy. You don't mind getting worn out if you love this sport. Really, you don't get worn out. Carroll. Inside a minute to play in the second. Key underneath. Missed the layup. Rebound South Carolina and Ocott. 22-second difference between game and shot clock. 13 assists on 16 made South Carolina field goals. Raven Johnson with the basketball, and Dawn Staley is going to take a timeout. As some idiot hit the clock. That dang buzzard. Or we're on a live stream. I might as well say it. I didn't mean to save it. All right, there you go. All right. That damn bastard Seth Eaves hit the scoreboard button this time. That's who hit it. So the clock had to reset. Lord have mercy. We apologize somewhat for that language. Tessa Johnson has 10 points. That's one more than Kentucky has as a team in this quarter. So that's a quarter. I was going to say, wait a minute, they got more than 9 points. Read the thing, stupid. Here's South Carolina with the basketball. Here is Raven Johnson. Watson. Inside. Here's Ocott. Oh, nice move on Key. Missed it. Kentucky wanted to walk, didn't get it. Key with the rebound. Morgan with the basketball, 13 to shoot. Down to 8. Morgan with 5. Morgan with 4. Morgan jumper. Good. 2 seconds left. 1, and that'll take us to halftime. But it has been all South Carolina in this one. The Gamecocks really kicked butt and took names in that second quarter. And they lead at 44 to 27 at intermission. A quick break. When we return, a bunch of scores. So buckle up, Buttercup. Carolina up 17 on this women's basketball watch-along. 44-27, South Carolina leading at halftime in this one. It's the Gamecocks and the Wildcats fight for a spot in the semifinals of the SEC tournament. Seth Eaves with you here. Let's get into it. Busy day. Let's get in a lot of scores. And as the day progresses, just to save my voice, when we go to the, I'll be doing just for the second game and the third game. If I do a second or a third game, I'm just going to be in some trouble here. All right, just go. Just go. All right. SEC Women's Tournament. This is the first of 4 games today. Coming up at about 30 minutes after this one, a top 10 showdown. Oklahoma and LSU will get it on from Greenville. That should be a good one. The Sooners looked very good yesterday in their win over the Florida Gators. So that's coming up. Also coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Michaela Blakes and Shay Ralph hit the floor for the first time at this tournament. And then the final team to make a debut, Vic Schaefer's Texas Longhorns will go for win 29. They'll play Alabama in the final game of the day in Greenville. How about other women's conference tournaments? Big East tournament. This, of course, is a tournament that has top-ranked Connecticut. They're not playing in the first round, of course, but there are first-round games. A good one going on right now with 6 seconds to go. It's Georgetown leading Butler 60-58. Later today, DePaul plays Providence, and Xavier does battle with St. John's. In Indianapolis, the Big Ten tournament, halftime, top seed UCLA struggling with Washington, 27-24. The Bruins looking for their 29th win of the year. Lauren Betts with 10 points in that one. 3 more games later today. Good one to the top 20 between Ohio State and 19th ranked Minnesota. Number 9 Iowa takes on Illinois in the night session. Then finally it'll be Oregon against number 8 Michigan. Big 12 women's tournament. This just has a feeling of wide open. Heading into the week, this felt like this could be a wide open and fun tournament, and is very much lived to that billing, if you will. Some great performances, some wild games. Kansas State upset Texas Tech yesterday by going on a 21-0 run in the fourth quarter to end the game. They're at the half in Kansas City. The Wildcats are in action again in the first game of the day, the first quarterfinal of the day. They trail Oklahoma State 33-31 at the half. Other quarterfinals today, BYU against TCU, Arizona State, West Virginia, and Colorado versus Baylor. In Duluth, Georgia, the first ACC quarterfinal has just finished. Top-seeded Duke, very impressive. They beat Clemson 60-46, so they're on to the semis. The other 3 quarterfinals later today, Notre Dame against NC State, Syracuse against Louisville, and Virginia Tech will play North Carolina. At the MAC, the MAAC tournament, quarterfinals, 2 games, 2 quarterfinals today. In the first one at halftime, it's Quinnipiac leading Manhattan 23-20. Fairfield, the 25th ranked team in the land, will play later today in the second game against Sacred Heart. A10 women's quarterfinals. A10 quarterfinals, the top seed Rhode Island leads Loyola Chicago 62-55 with 2:15 to go. The other 3 quarterfinals today, St. Joe's against Davidson, Dayton versus George Mason, and LaSalle against Richmond. At the Sun Belt Tournament, 4th round action, South Alabama. What a wild last few days it's been for them. They had the big fight against Coastal Carolina, last place, trying to win that gauntlet. And they're off to a pretty good start today against the 23-8 Marshall team. It's the Jaguars leading 18-10 with 8:46 to play in the half. The other game in the gauntlet today is ULM versus Old Dominion. West Coast Conference Tournament, 2nd round action getting underway today. 2 games today, Washington State versus Pacific at San Diego against San Francisco. SoCon semifinals, top seed Chattanooga leads Furman 75-65 with 58 seconds left. Winner of that one will get to the final and play either Samford or East Tennessee State. So that gets you caught up mostly on what's happening in other women's basketball tournaments. Around other women's basketball tournaments of note, you've got the Summit League starting in a little bit. St. Thomas and Oral Roberts That will begin at 1 o'clock. The OVC semifinals are today. Southeast Missouri State against Western Illinois at 2 o'clock Eastern. Then at 4:30, Southern Indiana against Lindenwood. The other Summit League game today, Denver versus South Dakota. And that kind of gets you caught up on what's happening. It has gone final in Uncasville. Georgetown has defeated Butler 62-58, the Big East Women's Tournament. Congratulations, Georgetown Hoyas. You've won today. Your prize? Mistaken, your prize is a date with Connecticut. Thanks for being a willing participant on our show. Oh, my God. That was disrespectful. But, it's also true. Men's college basketball, 2 top 25 teams finishing off the regular season tonight. Number 18, St. John's at Seton Hall, and number 19, Miami O. The Red Hawks looking to go to 31-0 on the road at Ohio. Men's conference tournaments. WCC second round tonight. Portland versus Washington State. And San Diego will take on Seattle. Big South men, again, these are all men's tournament games. Big South quarterfinals. Top seed High Point, no trouble at the half. They lead Gardner-Webb 43-27. The other quarterfinals later today. Charleston Southern will take on Winthrop. Longwood versus UNC Asheville. And Presbyterian against Radford. Patriot League, of course, the semifinals are set. If you missed it yesterday, what a finish. Lehigh, a half-court shot at the buzzer. They beat Holy Cross. They'll play Colgate in one of the Sunday semifinals. The other semifinal on Sunday, Navy, the number 1 seed, will take on Boston U. Sunbelt tournament continues in Pensacola tonight with Southern Miss against Texas State and Georgia Southern against South Alabama. Day 2 of Arch Madness at the Missouri Valley Tournament. The first quarterfinal starts in mere moments. Drake against the top seed Belmont. The other 3 games, Illinois-Chicago against Murray State, Valpo against Bradley, and Northern Iowa versus Illinois State. Southern Conference Tournament, that's always a fun one in Asheville. That gets started with 2 games tonight. The Citadel against Chattanooga, and VMI against UNCG. At the MAAC, 2 quarterfinals tonight. Sacred Heart against Merrimack, and then Fairfield will take on St. Peter's. Summit League, 2 quarterfinals last night. The other 2 are today. Omaha, South Dakota, and Denver against North Dakota. CAA tournament also starts today with a play-in game. Northeastern against North Carolina A&T. OVC semifinals are tonight. UT Martin against Tennessee State, and then SEMO against Morehead State. A-Sun tournament quarterfinals at the half. Central Arkansas 48, Bellarmine 34. Later today, it's Florida Gulf Coast against Lipscomb, Stetson versus Austin Peay, and West Georgia against Queens. And is that all for today in the men's conference tournament landscape? I do believe so. Yes. So another quick break. The second half from Greenville, South Carolina, and Kentucky comes your way next. 44-27, South Carolina. They contested 24-27 Kentucky field goal attempts. Kentucky, their largest halftime deficit since February of 2024 when they played, you guessed it, South Carolina. A jumper from Tiani Key gets the second half started for the Cats. Go left to right in their royal blue, South Carolina in the white with the garnet numerals from your right to your left as you follow along on this one. Here is Edwards. Edwards, hook shot, gets the friendly roll. Joyce Edwards doing the work. 46-29. Edwards with 11 points now for South Carolina. It was nearly a steal. Here's Hassett. Boone, 17 to shoot. Now gets it to Key. And Key misses a layup. Rebound South Carolina. Okot. Now they push. Watson inside. Edwards, yes. The lead now at 19. Edwards with 13. Kentucky with the basketball, and then you have a reach-in foul right here. So out of the timeout here. Key. This is the jump shot, and a rebound gathered in by Okot. On the run, here's Tessa Johnson. Her three is good. The left corner three canned, and the lead now at 22 for South Carolina on Tessa Johnson's third three of the game. Now here is Strack. Strack, I've seen it, scores. Great work for Clara Strack inside. South Carolina continuing to move inside. Oh, there's two more. The lead now at 22. Joyce Edwards with 12 points in the paint today. Kentucky now trying to operate here with Morgan. Morgan on the right block. Now frees it back over to Hassett. Morgan. And we've got a foul here away from the ball on South Carolina. South Carolina looking good value to make a semifinal yet again at this tournament. 22-point game, 7:33 to go. I don't know if we go full Packer yet, but we want to keep our audience engaged. Being with us, we can do that in blowouts. Is Obi with the layup. Jordan Obi with her fourth point of the day. Nice job there by Obi on the layup. Now Latson for South Carolina, top of the key. Spins. Latson now over to Tessa Johnson. Johnson's fade away. No good. Rimmed in and out of bounds. And what's the call? It's going to, I believe it's going to stay with South Carolina, yes. Three more quarterfinals. The hope is that they're all going to be pretty competitive. Oklahoma, LSU, it wasn't in the regular season, but I get a feeling that'll probably be a good one today as Okot misses. And a rebound by Obi for Kentucky. And then Ole Miss beat Vandy this year. See if they got another answer from Michaela Blakes. We get Coach Yo. That's always fun. Here's a steal. And a layup for Joyce Edwards. Two more for her. Kenny Brooks is like, just get me to the big dance. Leads at 22. Edwards now with 17. That's it. Obi. And travel. So here we go back the other way. South Carolina long pass. That's Oakott. That's 2 more. That's a timeout for Kentucky. South Carolina has turned up the style. They have popped the clutch and found the extra gear and then some. They're in the overdrive now. 57-33 with still 6:22 to go in quarter number 3. Dawn Staley, 55-year-old from Philadelphia. Of course, great playing career at Virginia, Team USA, and then the WNBA Charlotte Sting. Coached at Temple, had a great run there. A 6-time All-Star of the WNBA. A 3-time Kodak All-American in women's basketball. And as a coach, well, the accolades are endless. 3 regular season and 4 tournament championships when she was the head coach at Temple. Came to South Carolina, and boy, she turned a program that was, quite frankly, nothing, and then has made it into one of the premier programs in America. Three national championships, 7 Final Fours, including each of the last 5. 9 times a champion in this tournament. I mean, it's just amazing what she's been able to do, and well, there's going to be a lot more where that came from. You can bet on that. 504 wins at South. She's won 82% of her games at South Carolina. And she's won 78% of her games overall when you count in the Temple years. Just 3 losing seasons and 3 trips without the postseason. And of the postseasons, only 2 times did her team go to the WNIT. It's been all NCAAs mostly. And of course, a lot of talk. There's been rumors have started floating around. Would she coach a men's team? She was being kind of floated as like maybe a wild card for the Knicks job, the Kentucky men's job, but she has stayed put at South Carolina. There's even some South Carolina people on the message boards that are saying, maybe get Dawn to coach the men's team, the way the men's team's been struggling the last few years under Lamont Parrish's leadership. Who knows? What we do know is she's got a really good thing going at South Carolina. Reagan Beers in the building. Oklahoma and LSU. That'll be the second game of the day in Greenville as we resume action here in the first game. Kentucky moving the ball around. Obi. And the pass picked off by Oakott. Now South Carolina wants to run. Latson. And a foul. .6:03 to go. And there is Ayala Chavez. What a player she is. She can light it up. That'll be a fun one to watch. You know, Kim Mulkey's got a game plan dialed up. Some good stars, good coaches. That should be a good one in the second game of the day. Latson with her first 2 points of the game coming at the free throw line to build the lead up to 26. Kentucky on average averages 13 turnovers a game on the year. They're at that number today. And a block shot there by McKeer. And now South Carolina wants to run. Out of bounds, and it's going to stay with... It's going to go back to Kentucky. Carolina with it. Key, free throw line jumper, in and out. But there is a foul. So no shooting foul. Kentucky inbounds. Here's Tiani Key on the left block. Key now back to Obi. Obi. Here's the kick out. This is Key for three, and good. So Key drills the three. That's only her second made three of the entire season. South Carolina's last missed field goal off a pass was at the 7:49 mark of the second quarter. I swear to everything, they've got a stat for anything. You could probably get a stat on how many times Kenny Brooks has picked his nose during this game. Call up Mina Kimes. I'm sure she has the answer to that. 59-36. Kentucky women's basketball. Kenny Brooks trying to do, of course, it's not easy coaching the women's program at Kentucky when you're in the shadows of that men's program. 8 championships, the second most all time for the men. The women have yet to make a Final Four. Their best effort, 4 trips to the Elite Eight. Once in the 80s in 1982, under the leadership of Terry Hall. And then Matthew Mitchell took the team to 3 Elite Eights in 2010, 2012, and 2013. Two of those years they lost to Connecticut in the Elite Eight. Last year, of course, the 4th seed, they almost were upset by Liberty at home, only won by 1, and then lost by 1 in what was a great game to the second round to Kansas State. Of course, they've had some really good players over the years. You think about Victoria Dunlap, Ryan Howard, what a star she was. She was an SEC Player of the Year twice. Victoria Dunlap, Adia Mathis as well. Kentucky, by the way, also won the NWIT. I think it's now the WNIT. It was like that. They won that with Sharon Fanning's leadership. That was back in 1990. Kentucky does have 2 SEC tournament titles. They won in 1982. Then the third, that great run under Ira Elzy in 2022 when they became, what was it, the 4th and most recent team to win 4 games in 4 days to win the tournament. Nobody has ever won 5-5, and it doesn't look like Kentucky's going to start a trend this year. And you got some South Carolina fans, they straight dancing in the crowd. The people behind them are loving it. This is what it's all about. Joyce Edwards, the camera and the interviewer has found Joyce Edwards' mother. Holly Rowe has found Joyce Edwards' mother. This is going to be an interesting conversation for the people that are listening to that broadcast. Layup no good for South Carolina. Key got the rebound for Kentucky. The lead at 23 for the Gamecocks. Now here is Josie Gilvin, who's into the game. Key, and the ball stripped out of her hands, fell out of her hands. Whose ball is it? course, the SEC, a very, very good year. Once again, most people think they're going to have the second most teams in the tournament. The brackets, the latest brackets, as that ball goes out of bounds, the latest bracketology from those that follow that stuff say 10 teams from the conference will get in the NCAA tournament. Of course, South Carolina, you know they're going to be in. Obviously, that's pretty apparent that they're going to be in. As Keir misses the shot. Here's Strack, Kentucky on the run. Strack makes a 3 to cut it back to 20. That's her first 3 of the game. She has 11 points. But, yes, to finish up on the 10 bids as Raven Johnson is pushed aside. And, okay, Holly Rowe and Joyce Edwards' mother were having a dance-off of some kind. This is, oh boy, this is what happens when it's a 20-point game, I guess. I guess that's her husband or her son next to her. Probably get a bunch of texts saying, we just saw you on TV. Here's a fight for the loose ball. South Carolina comes out of the pack, but it's really hard to explain when you're doing an audio-only visual. And McDaniel adds 2 more to her total with a layup. Kentucky had just 60 points in Lexington on Sunday. They've hit 61 with still 3:22 in the third. I promise I'm going to get to the NCAA tournament picture in the SEC at some point. Carroll's 3 is no good. Rebound now grabbed by Morgan. Morgan, 12 to shoot. Morgan drives, scores. Good work there by Morgan, and 1. You got to think South Carolina obviously in. Vanderbilt, Texas, LSU, Oklahoma. Ole Miss would feel safe. You feel pretty safe about Georgia at this rate. Kentucky's going to be in, obviously. Alabama in, and then Tennessee. Most bracketologists, despite a not-so-glamorous record, and despite turmoil, many people still think the Lady Vols are going to make it, and that would keep a streak going. Of course, the only team that's made every single women's NCAA tournament. McDaniel misses on the fast break layup. Here is Strack for Kentucky. Robin Sons. This is Gilvin, rejected by Raven Johnson. Giving Kentucky a taste of their own medicine with the blocks today of the Gamecocks. Okot had the ball slip out of her hands and into the pom-pom of a cheerleader. And then during the weekend, you had teams such as Texas A&M and Mississippi State that entered on the bubble. They did not help their cause by losing first-round games on Wednesday. Raven Johnson, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. What a player she is. Here's Kentucky the other way, a 3 ball that does not fall. Seth, can you look at the clock, please? Like JT during that one game we did. Oh my God, stop moving the clock to reset. That was during a blowout too. I bet JT's sitting there like, your memory is too much. Johnson. Inside to Edwards. It's no good, but Edwards did draw the foul. But yes, the Charlie Crane bracket, he has the SEC at 10 bids. That's second most behind the Big Ten at 12. ACC with 9. Big 12 with 7. And the Big East, Atlantic 10, and Ivy with 2. So if you're a lot of SEC teams, if you're Tennessee, you're Texas A&M, you're Mississippi State, what you got to root for now is to make sure there's not any more chaos. Of course, Cream right now has those 2 in the next 4 out category. And unlike the men, most major women's tournaments are this weekend, so this kind of actually, the bubble suspense has just about died off. I'll give you the latest bracket in just a minute. Here is Edwards, and Edwards is fouled. Right now, his last 4 byes are Iowa State, USC, Clemson, and Virginia. That's 4 teams who are now finished. Clemson, of course, beat Virginia yesterday. Clemson losing to Duke today. Iowa State, they lost last night to Arizona State. USC was eliminated by Washington. Virginia lost to Clemson yesterday at the ACC. First free throw is good. His last four in: Princeton, Colorado, Richmond, and Nebraska. The Ivy League tournament is next week. Princeton and Columbia, the top two there. So if you're a bubble team, you're bare minimum rooting for that to be the championship game. As the second free throw is also good. Edwards with now 10 points in this third quarter. The lead at 22 for South Carolina. Kentucky now trying to move the basketball here. Boone. Now Carroll. Back to Key. Key now will flip it back to Obi. Obi step back. It's good. Obi with a step back. She's got 6. The lead is now at 20 with a minute 40 to go in the third quarter. I'm not done with the bracket thing yet. Johnson at the top of the key. Now over to Edwards. Now McKeer. Edwards, no. And rebound gathered in by Kentucky. On the move, here's Carroll. Gilvin. Key. Drives. No. Loose ball. South Carolina has it. Johnson. Edwards, 2. The lead now at 22 with less than a minute to play in the third. Carroll, her 3 is off the mark. McDaniel. Now Watson for 3. It's good. That's another 3. They're pouring it on. The lead at 25. Kentucky win it the other way. Key drives and a foul. To finish at the last 4 in Princeton, Colorado, Richmond, and Nebraska. Richmond playing today, of course, in the A10 tournament. We'll play later tonight in that thing. Colorado has a big game tonight against Baylor. They could help their cause winning that. Nebraska's probably the one sweating it out the most if you take the cream bracketology part of it, because Nebraska lost to Indiana in the first round on Tuesday. Or on Wednesday, I'm sorry, as Key makes the first free throw. And the teams that are just below, like BYU, Arizona State, they still have opportunities. BYU's got TCU today. Arizona State's got West Virginia. Those are potential winning your in games. Raven Johnson with 4 seconds. Johnson, lob it, picked off, and that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. So we'll go to the fourth, and South Carolina in complete command. Just to finish off this thing, his first 4, Cream's first 4 out, BYU, Arizona State, South Dakota State, and then Utah, who's probably out after losing to BYU yesterday, and then the next 4 out are 4 teams who got beat early in conference tournaments: Mississippi State, Stanford, Texas A&M, and Kansas. So really the only team sweating it out is Tennessee, but apparently the brackets seem to think that Tennessee is going to probably be just fine enough, but I don't know. Again, this is not exact science. You just never know. Anyway, back to the final 10 minutes in Greenville. underway. 68-45, South Carolina in command. Here's Latson on the left wing. Latson now to inside second to Tornabeze and a foul underneath. Inside, there's two more. Two more and a chance for an and one. 25-point lead for South Carolina. And Dawn Staley, of course, a busy week for her, not just because of the basketball, but of course, is at the procession Monday for the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights activist. Jackson, of course, from Greenville, South Carolina. Here is Strack and Key and Dawn Staley. Still coaching like all the greats. Still wanting foul calls and demanding perfection, even up 26 in a conference tournament game. Actually, it was a turnover, so South Carolina got the ball back out of that. Interesting call. Here's Tornabeze, now over to McKeer. Now Tornabeze on the right block, 14 to shoot. Long pass out to McDaniel. And McDaniel traveled with it. South Carolina might have more bench players set to come in. Here's Kentucky up the floor. South Carolina did not have any points from their bench against Kentucky on Sunday. But today they have 11. Save into the cheerleaders and then throwing it away. Well, Hassett with a hustle at least. Inbound to McDaniel. 17 Kentucky turnovers now. Latson off the front of the rim. No good. Rebounded by Kentucky. Here is Hassett. Hassett's three. That one's good. Amelia Hassett buries the three. She's 3 of 3 from out there. 9 points. Tornabeze. Now to Latson on the left wing. Tornabeze, her three. No good. Rebound by Kentucky. Here is the wraparound pass to Johnson that is picked off by McKeer. McKeer, now Latson. Now McKeer on the left wing. Latson. Picked off. Now here is McDaniel, and McDaniel is fouled. I know she took a bit. It looks like she might have hit her wrist or something. But she seems to have shaken it off and will now head back to the free throw line. First one good. Three more quarterfinals today in Greenville. LSU, Oklahoma. Vandy, Ole Miss, Texas, Alabama. McDaniel makes it both. The lead at 25 now for South Carolina. Morgan, here's a kick out for three, and that's another three for Hassett. She's been the bright spot today for Kentucky, that is for sure. And a quick timeout taken by Kenny Brooks. Lead now at 22 as the LSU players look on as they get set for what will be a most interesting game. Against Oklahoma later today. Well, South Carolina, of course, we've talked about how they have ran the SEC and have been amongst the best, not just the best in the SEC, but one of the best in the entire country the last decade. Second most tournament championships. Tennessee still with a commanding lead in that department, but it's a lead that is starting to shrink a little bit. South Carolina can get to double digits if they win this year's tournament. They're at 9. They've won the last 3. And 5 of the last 6. So, South Carolina in just complete control of this one. Looking for another tournament championship. They're looking for another national championship, too. That's the ultimate goal. They've got 3 of them. They got to the title game last year before losing to UConn. Number 4 could be in sight, though, this year. This is a team that South Carolina is a party atmosphere. The South Carolina team. Again, from 1992 to 2008, 3 SEC tournament wins, period, and no titles. Their first 16 years in the league. In the Staley era, how about 34 wins in this tournament and 9 titles? I'd say it's an uptick. McKeer lays it in. Lead now at 24. South Carolina running away and hiding with this one. Here is a long Kentucky 3, and that's good. The 3s are falling in the money quarter. Asia Boone knocks that one down. 21-point game with 6:45 to go. It's too good inside. That's Latson, and there is 2 more points for her. So here's Kentucky now. Jump shot off the front of the rim, no good. Key got the rebound. Key inside, and there's 2 more for Key. $77-56. Great move inside, and there's 2 more for McKeer. The passing just so smooth for this South Carolina team. And there's a foul. Who's trying to get the basket? Kentucky should still be at worst a 5 seed for the NCAA tournament. They'll have time to regroup and bury this one, but South Carolina just too good and too strong. Hassett thought about the 3. Thought about maybe staying perfect. Kentucky now working it. Here's Morgan. 6 to shoot. Hassett. Carroll. Obi shot. And wins out. Rebound, South Carolina. Here is McDaniel. On the run. McKeer inside. That's 2 more. McKeer with a runner. Nice finish there. And now 81-56 as McKeer is rolling. 81-56, 5 minutes to play. Oh, there's a nice little Euro step and a nice finish for Tony Morgan. Now Tornabeze off the heel, no good. Rebounded by Kentucky and Obi. Hassett for 3. Can she stay perfect? Yes! Well, talk about a silver lining on a dark cloud. Amelia Hassett is now 5 of 5 from 3. Simply amazing. Latson, score and 1. Nia Latson with a chance at a 3-point play. Free throw is no good. And the rebound, Kentucky. Lead at 22 now for South Carolina. Here on the run, Obi the pass, and then he finds the hands of Gilvin. Back to Obi inside. Obi misses, and Tornabeze with the rebound. And now a stoppage here as McKeer is not getting up. 2 of her teammates offered to help her up, and she touched the hand briefly and fell back to the ground. So let's see what happened. She went for the steal and took a tumble as she did. So you got McKeer with the finish from Thunder Bay, Canada. Well, Food City SEC tournament. Okay, now we've jumped the shark. Seth, you've jumped the shark. I don't know. Now I'm doing like Matthew thought Billy Packer did that one game. I don't know, Billy. What do you think? I don't know, Billy. I think you should shut up right now. Here's McDowell. Now it's Latson on the right wing. God almighty, I hate blowouts. Here's Latson on a drive. And it's picked off. Kentucky now with a chance. Hassett running a break. Boone, step back. Her 3 is good. That cuts it to 19. Boone's third 3. It's way too little, way too late. But Kentucky trying to at least make the score look respectable with these 3s as we approach 3 minutes to play. Tornabeze now gives it to Latson on the right wing. McKeer, runner, no, but McKeer will go to the line. Oh, it's an offensive foul. So Kentucky here with the ball. Here's Hassett. Obi. Hook shot. Left it short. Latson. Miriam Dowda into the game, and she got the rebound. Well, they can't score inside, but they're doing great from outside. Kentucky. That was a Benny Parsons moment, wasn't it? They're shooting inside. They're shooting on the outside. Here is Carroll. Gilvin with a Euro step. It's no good. And Dowda with a rebound. Up ahead, Latson. No good, but drew the contact, and she'll go to the charity strike. Gotta make your fouls, as they always say. $83-64. So 2:16 left. First free throw is good. Now another one coming. Kentucky, by the way, 5 for 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter. Kansas State's about to do it again. They're up 5 on Oklahoma State with 15 seconds left. That's going to make some teams sweat a little bit. Playing either BYU or TCU tomorrow. Bench showing Chloe Kitts. Good to see her still active. Of course, she was the most outstanding player of this tournament last year. Suffered a season-ending injury before the season even started. Boone's jumper is no good. 2 minutes to play. $52 left. Carolina with it inside, and another foul. Another stoppage. So Bizet. It's the free throw, and the bench having some fun and a lot of encouragement. They've got a lot of good team spirit, this South Carolina team. It's been this way in the Staley era, but really the last few years. And I know winning helps that, but still, they show up, they do their job, they have fun, but they also know it's time to get serious. And like I said, believe me, I don't use this term lightly. I see a lot of Pat Summitt and Dawn Staley, and well, it's about the highest compliment you could get in this league and in this sport. Final 80 seconds of this one as South Carolina is cruising to a semifinal berth. Torna Bizet inside. And it's no good. That was weird. The ticker, I'm sorry. That just, kind of threw me off for a minute there. No good. And then you see you see, and now I'm seeing right there, Staley's like, hey, I don't know what you just did, but just cool a little bit here. Have fun, but, let's keep things into perspective. They'll enjoy it for a little bit, and then they'll stay in the arena. They'll get something to eat as Boone's 3 is off the mark, and then Kier rebounds, and then they'll stick around and do some scouting for the next game. They'll get either Oklahoma or LSU tomorrow, as the crowd with their famous white towels waving and standing in unison to cheer on another Gamecock win in this tournament that they have made their own invitation on the last handful of years. McDowell, McKeer's going to pull from way outside, and it almost went in from the S in the SEC logo near midcourt. And then a foul with 28 seconds. My God. That would have broken my sound continuum, and you wouldn't have known what I had been saying. I would have been cut out if that had gone in. That was crazy. Boone. Now working with the basketball here. 16 seconds. Boone trying to work it. Boone down to 12. Boone to 9. Boone with 7. And a foul with 7.1 seconds. A grimace from Dawn Staley's face. She's grinning a little bit. But in her mind, she's like, a foul with that short of time left. Joyce Edwards is going to come back in. And presumably getting a standing ovation from these, 14, 15,000, 13,000 that are in attendance. Most of whom are wearing garnet and black. Boone with 5 seconds left. Let's see if she'll take a shot or just dribble it out. 1 second. Boone drives, blocked by Tornabeze. That sums South Carolina up right there. Fight till the final whistle. No matter how far you're up or how much you're down. Tornabeze, the block from behind to end it. And for the 13th time in the last 15 years, South Carolina will feature on semifinal Saturday at the SEC tournament. Close for a quarter, and then it was a Carolina crushing for the rest of the day as they take it 87-64 over Kentucky. They're into the semis to play either LSU or Oklahoma. Clara Strack never really got involved in the game today. A comfortable win in the end for Dawn Staley's team. Kenny Brooks chatting it up with Jolette Law, South Carolina assistant. And now the Gamecock coaches and players wave to the fans, to their adoring fans. They'll be back tomorrow ready to go against either the Tigers or the Sooners, and they got plans on being here Sunday as well. 19th 20-point game of the year for Joyce Edwards. That's the second most for South Carolina under Dawn Staley. Only Aja Wilson in the 17-18 season had more when she had 21. The final score, South Carolina 87, Kentucky 64. We thank you for watching this college basketball watch-along.